Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rody and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast. I'm Rody, this is Diz. Welcome to the show, Diz.
Better now, thank you. After cracking the beer, good to be here with you, mate.
And you even supplied these ones, that's rare.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, next question on that one. We've got a big episode today, Rody.
Diz, we do. We did a bit of, everyone else goes to boat show to shop for boats and caravans. We shop for podcast guests.
We did do some shopping for podcast guests. It was great to see some familiar faces, some previous guests, of course, but excellent to see some new faces and catch up with some people, hear about their ideas, so on and so forth. And one of them today, of course, is the new team behind Squid Ezy.
Yes, Diz, Phil and Brenton, they've taken over from Rod Cross, who is a previous guest of the podcast, and they're the new owners, and they run the business now, the Squid Ezy. It's a great product, and we're going to chat with them all about that.
That's right, wonderful South Australian-made product, and we look forward to hearing from them a little bit later on today, Rody. Let's get on to oranges and lemons before we get into the meat of today's episode. So, look, I'll kick off with my orange, Rody, and it was, of course, the boat show. It was an excellent weekend. We managed to get in there for the days that they were on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did a bit of talking up on stage, did a bit of catching up with some old guests and friends, like we said. Spoke to the guys behind some wonderful boats in North Bank and Stabicraft, the team at Christie's Beach Marine, as well as Harry behind North Bank now. So it was great weekend all in all, Rody.
It is, Diz. It was really good to get back there again, and we'll touch on that a bit more as the show goes on.
Rody, what was your orange, mate?
Diz, you did. I don't know. We did mention it in the last episode that I was heading up to Port Douglas, and we've been and gone and had a really good trip up there and managed to get in some fishing, Diz. So I went out with Jake from Exceed Sports Fishing. It's a great operation Jake runs, and he's actually from South Australia. Grew up snapper fishing. I think his parents live at Glenelg, so he's a ex-South Aussie.
There you go. Very good.
And also did a bit of fishing off the park there. Got a couple of sharks. Kept me entertained.
Nice. Very
Little
good.
reef sharks.
Yeah, some good photos you put up on the social, so we love that. Now, question for you. You know how you go to your coffee shop and you buy 4 and you get the fifth one free?
Yeah.
Do you get that with Jake's fishing charter up there?
I've been out with him 3 times. I'd be due for a free one then, wouldn't I? One more.
Do you get that with like Port Douglas as well? Like, how many times do you want to go up to Port Douglas?
Don't know, mate.
Are you trying to move up there?
At least when I go on a holiday, I actually get out and go fishing, unlike your Fiji failed fishing extravaganza.
Oh, dear. Very good. Well, that does lead us into my lemon, Rody. It's been my absolute horrible run at no fishing.
Yeah, no, you haven't been good on that front.
Oh, I've been horrific. I've hardly been out. It feels like forever. I've had a lot going on at work. You know, whatever, Fiji. Sure, I'll come up with some excuses if you like, but just basically just haven't been out on the water as much as I'd like. So I'm really hoping for a big summer campaign on the water.
Diz, that'd be good. It'd be good to see you pull your weight. It'll give us a bit more to talk about in the podcast. If we're both getting out in the water, you might get a photo for Instagram at some point.
Yeah, good. I'll work on it, mate. I'll work on it. Rody, your lemon?
Diz, my lemon is we've been to the boat show the last 2 years and we haven't bought a boat.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you go for?
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'm not sure our pockets are deep enough for some.
But it does make you a bit jealous.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Some of the boats there are pretty impressive. Even the caravans are cool.
Yeah. Caravans are cool.
Like, my issue with the caravan is if you go away, you can't tow the boat and the caravan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't.
Well, yeah, you could, but it takes a bit of doing.
It does take a bit of doing. Somebody will send us a photo saying we'll prove you wrong.
Or we'll have to get one that the caravan that sleeps 2 families, and then one of us can tow the caravan, the other can tow the boat. Yeah, now we're talking. All right, very good little oranges and lemons segment there, Rhodey. Let's give the listeners out there a bit of an update on the merch. But first, we must thank Simon, the man behind Savage Tackle, a fantastic tackle company that we talk about quite often because of how good his products are and how much of a great bloke he is. Thank you to Simon for selling our merch at the boat show. Had a nice little display of our stuff up there with the hats and the stubbies and the beanie. It was nice weather, Rhodey, so it wasn't beanie weather. Still sold a couple though.
Weather.
He did sell a couple.
It was good to sell a few. That's Simon doing some of his best work there, isn't it?
Yes, and I think he's just about sold us out of navy caps and stubby holders.
Wow.
There might be 1 or 2 left, but not many. We do still have plenty of grey caps and beanies if you do have maybe a Tassie trip or New Zealand or maybe you're going to America for the winter over there.
Yeah. Still think there's still some cold mornings. We've talked about the beanie on top of the cap concept.
Yeah, you're not probably selling me on the Adelaide beanie conditions right at the moment, but if you are travelling interstate or overseas and you need a beanie, hit us up.
Yeah, no, very good. All right, Rhodey, let's talk to the listeners out there about the photo comp that we run every month. So there's been a winner, Rhodey.
Diz, yes, the regular Shimano backpack, cap, all that sort of stuff that we give out regularly, Diz, and we've got a very deserving winner, Diz.
Yes, tell us.
Young fella by the name of Jai Hagi.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that right?
I think so.
We're going to go with Jai Hagi anyway. He sent us through a few photos, Diz, a stonking flathead.
Yeah, big flatty.
And some really nice trout.
Yeah, very, very good photos sent in by Jai. We love it when the listeners out there get involved with getting plenty of photos coming through. And it's no wonder when you've got a great prize up for grabs with the Shimano quality gear up for grabs in our monthly photo comps. Roddy, we love it.
And it's a good diversity, isn't it? He's got the brown trout, looks like in a little local creek or stream. He's got the flathead. He does the freshwater, does the saltwater. That's probably what we liked about his entry.
Yeah, had a bit of variety. We did love that. That's true. Roddy, November, we are doing a surf fishing comp with some tackle from, as we said, Simon, the man behind Savage Tackle.
We did, Diz, and Savage Tackle's got a great range of the Gemini sinkers. They're really good in the surf.
They are, mate. They're epic. They're really good. We obviously didn't spend a lot of time at the stalls at the boat show, but when we were there with Simon, there was always interest in the Gemini sinkers.
Yeah, they are, because I think the different colours and the different size, there's a bit to talk about. There's a bit to keep people interested, and there's a fair bit for someone like Simon who's got some expertise in the area to teach people who haven't used them a lot.
Yep, that's right. Recommend the right size. They might be going down a salt creek, in which case you want to go a bit heavier.
Yeah. So we'll launch this competition in the next week or so. We'll get a photo up of the prize pack, which looks really good, Diz. And we're going to send in your surf fishing photos in November, and we'll pick our favourite.
Love it, Rhodey. All right, mate. Well, thanks for that little update there. Let's get into the news.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Brody, bit of a boat show wrap up for the listeners out there. It was a great weekend, heavily dominated by 4x4 and caravanning. But what I can confidently say is the stalls that were in the fishing area, very close to where the stage was some excellent quality gear. We're talking about Troll So Hard lures. Great South Australian made lures. Perfect time to get in and stock up on some schoolfish tuna lures. Also a great time for some late season barrels or to just check out their barrel lures, Roddy. They looked excellent.
Stock up for next year. We're going next year, so we should start getting organised.
We should. The team there was, of course, joined by the man behind Wanna Fish Charters, Tice, who had a wonderful raffle. I'm still pretty filthy that I didn't win it.
Can we mention Simon from Savage Tackle for a third time? Because he won the prize.
Yeah, he did, and I'm waiting for him to give us his shout out to ask if he wants us to be decky for his charter or something like that. But
who are we waiting for to ask? Is Simon going to ask us, or are we waiting for...
I don't know. know,
For
Tice.
Tice to hit us. Yeah,
Just
anyway.
one of them. Someone hit us up to be Decky on the
We
day.
feel like
but
the middleman.
I did say that if I won it, that I was going to insist on Flacky coming out with us as Decky. So maybe, Simon, you might extend the honour. No, it was very good. And like we said, we had Simon from Savage Tackle. There was Duncan from Boomer Anchors, who we're looking forward to having on in a later episode. You had the girls behind with Just a Girl. Tito was there. What else, Rody? There was Port Vincent Oysters.
Yeah. I suppose we've got to give a big thank you to Tyson from Want to Fish Charters, Tracy Tito from Team Just a Girl, and Andrew Harris from Wreckfish for joining us on stage.
Yes, the
So they were great
Marion
guests.
Bay Caravan Park. They had some good How's Your Tackle gear. So it was good. There was just good stuff all around.
It was a really good weekend, Diz, and we look forward to next year.
Absolutely, mate. And before we do just wrap it up, of course, the boats, mate. I mean, far out. North Bank Staby. There was other brands there. There was Senators, Surtees. Yamaha Pitman's had a stage up there. We spent most of our time just drooling over the Stabies and North Banks, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We hung out there for a while. Said hello to Ned McHenry and Brad from down there at Christie's Beach Marine. Good to see him again.
Absolutely, mates. All right, well, we've got a bit of an update on the snapper recovery information, Rhodey. Talk the listeners through that.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at it now, actually, Diz. It's a new part of the PIRSA website, and it's got all the research, sort of what's going on, I suppose, behind the scenes. It talks about the 3-year, $8.8 million support package, what that involves. Talks about some of the research that's going on, some of the snapper stocking, and it's sort of your go-to place to find out what's going on behind the scenes in this ongoing snapper ban, and hopefully what is going to dig us out of this hole we're in, Diz.
Yeah, so there's been obviously a lot of advocacy work with Wreckfish SA. They're keeping us all across what the developments are, and clearly the Southeast snapper zone is good news, Rhodey. We've talked about that, right?
Yep. Yeah, it is.
So increasing the bag there is great news for people wanting to
Are
go
you
down there.
teasing our next news item?
Yeah, of course I am, mate. But where it's great news, really. If you're down that way fishing, you can catch a couple now.
Yeah, we should just jump straight in that one, should we, Diz, officially?
Well, it makes sense, mate, to link it into the snapper recovery. I mean, I'm
Sorry,
going to completely disregard your run sheet.
If you did a bit more work on the run sheet, you could have ordered it how you like, but that's all right.
I'm just linking 1 and 2.
All right, Diz, tell us about the Southeast snapper bag limits.
Well, they've increased, mate. I've just given it away, haven't I?
Yeah, okay. Well, what are they now?
Well, it was 1. They've gone up to 2.
And why are they doing that, Diz?
Well, because the Southeast zone, as Harry talked to us about on the stage, they don't sort of get to the Victorian border and then just run into like border security and they say, no, you guys can't swim into South Australia. So they've deemed that population as sustainable. Hence, they've allowed an increase in bag limits. It's still required to report your catch, is my understanding, Rhodey?
Yep.
Via the app?
Yep.
So, or if you can't via the app, you can, of course, call the number. Don't know what the number is, do you?
No, don't have it on me, mate.
We'll look that up. So good news for that part of the world, Rhodey.
Exactly right, Diz. And yeah, you're right. It's a good result, and it's probably a credit to the Victorian fishery, isn't it, really, that they're breeding these snapper in Port Phillip Bay and the rest of the state's shut down, but we get a little corner of South Australia that relies on Victoria to...
Tell us what the bag limit is in Victoria. Will we have any idea on that?
You've got it, have you?
No, I don't have it, but it's certainly more than 2.
It's a hell of a lot more than 2.
But
I don't know what it is for snapper. I know it's 20 per person for whiting, and they're smaller than they are here.
Yeah.
So that shows how strong the fishery over in Victoria is going, considering how many people live in Melbourne and Victoria compared to South Australia.
Yes, that's right. So, but look, we'll take what we can get in that regard, Rhodey, at this stage, won't we? So certainly people who are fishing down that way, any of the charter operators who work in that area are certainly going to be happy to be able to get their hands on another fish for themselves and so on and so forth.
All right, Diz, that's a good news item with that stock being sustainable. Let's move on to, I think this is another good news story, Diz, and Asher was filling us in on this just after we did our last chat with him on the podcast, Diz, and this is Lake George down in the southeast.
Yeah, so the mullet in there were ancient. Basically.
Yeah, it was interesting what he was saying, wasn't it? They've got no real natural predators and they just grow bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and essentially that they were just all going to die of old age. because there hadn't been a sort of influx of new life into that area because of the tidal zones, I think it might have been.
I think generally it's not connected to the ocean.
Right, okay.
I think maybe in years gone by, maybe it has been. I'm not sure. Maybe if there's a particularly wet year or anything like that. But basically it's landlocked and the fish were just getting bigger and bigger, but it meant there was no turnover and they weren't getting the juveniles in there.
Yep. And so wreck fish in combination with
Sardi, I think it was.
Sardi have
PIRSA.
basically fixed that problem, haven't they? Or attempted to fix that problem by putting some juveniles in there.
Yeah, so I think they there's a video about how they took the yellow eye mullet and translocated them into Lake George, Diz.
Yeah, great piece of work that. Not that I'm big into me mullet fishing, but if I was down in those parts and I heard there was some big old mullet sort of stonking around that needed catching, then maybe you would.
It's probably it probably made me think we should go to Lake George and try and catch a trophy mullet.
Very good. Rhodey, I think that's enough for that story. Let's move on to some rule changes for the Port River in regards to the protection of the dolphins.
Yeah, this was another PIRSA item, Diz. This came up. There was a survey on it, I want to say 6 months ago, but I'm making up that number. I don't know if you can remember.
Oh, I can't remember. Something like that.
And it sort of gave some different options on what could be the potential options, and there was a lot of protests going on. The Greens were not real happy with us fishers, were they?
Yeah, the greenies were jumping up and down.
But we've had a pretty good result, Diz. So the rules basically are that there is a hook restrictions at a 7.0 size hook. So I think they give the dimensions and whatever, but it basically is a 7.0 hook you're allowed to use, or anything down from there, which that's big enough, Diz.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, that it's a sensible decision, isn't it? I mean, you know, people probably aren't down there slugging out massive baits on big hooks. And I think the rule is also sort of within 50 metres or something, Rhodey,
Yeah, so if you see a dolphin, you have to pull your line. If a dolphin's within 50 metres of your line, you have to pull until it disappears.
Yeah. It's funny though, isn't it? Like, I've never caught a dolphin.
No,
Have you?
People have though.
Really?
Well, no. if the Greens are listening, no.
Anyway, we shouldn't make a joke of it because the rules have changed. So if you see a dolphin within 50 metres, you need to pull your line in and you can't be fishing with excessively large hooks in the Port River. So they're the changes. They've been agreed to. We're glad that issue is put to bed and we move on, Rhodey. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, probably don't need to hear much more about the Port River Dolphins for a little while.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Rhodey, of course, it was a couple of days ago that the cray season opened for which zone?
The northern zone. The southern zone's already been open for a month, so
Yes.
now the whole state's open for cray fishing. And Jack, my sister's partner, went over there.
Did they? Did they get some?
He took the day off on Wednesday, the sneaky bugger.
Did he pull a sickie?
Don't know what he did.
Oh,
He certainly
did.
He certainly didn't work. And Diz, what normally happens when Jack goes crayfishing? How many do they normally get?
Well, Ben normally gets them all, doesn't he?
Well, they normally get 8 between them anyway. You'd think first day of the season they'd be everywhere.
They got none.
They got 4.
Oh, right. Wow. What, they go to some crap spots or
Not
something?
sure. I heard some story about the weather being no good, but
jeez.
I haven't spoken to Jack myself, so I'll let him tell his story and justify it.
Very good. But a bit of cray-related news, Rhodey. Trial in WA. There's a new trial on a particular style of cray pot.
No, so you've misread that, Diz. So it's a trial in South Australia. It's a 5-year study testing different designs of cray pots, testing whether the Western Australian style batten pot is better, and it's actually come out on top, Diz. So it's increased. It says here so they got permission to use these pots, which are not normally the beehive style pot is legislated as legal in South Australia. As a part of this study, some of the pros got permission to use the Western Australian style pot and found that it improved their catch rate by 38%.
Wow, that's not
I'd
a
say
small
that's
amount.
pretty good going.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, Diz, because I know when we did buy some cray pots a little while ago, and when you do search cray pots, a lot of these batten style, they're sort of a rectangle sort of shape as opposed to the round ones that we use over here.
Yeah, you got any theories why?
I've got no idea, Diz, but if it works, it works. And you would think, I don't know what, obviously the pros are you catch more crayfish. I don't know what the cons are of using this style pot, but you think if it's working for the pros, you'd think it maybe is only a matter of time before it becomes illegal. Legal in South Australia to use that style of pot, and you might see that it jumps across. And some of those that have been involved in the trial have been able to make the permanent switch to batten style pots.
There you go. And I imagine with that style pot, they don't have the seal spike dilemma.
Yeah, it does say here there's been a reduction in bycatch as well, so I don't know what that refers to, whether it somehow keeps the octopus out or what it does. Maybe the crabs, I don't really know. But it says here approximately 25% of the fishing fleet have changed over to the new pot, and we're seeing a considerable improvement in catch rates.
Well, there you go. Good news story.
And
Love
it says here, I would say the majority of fishers in the northern zone will eventually move over to the new pot type. So this is suggesting, this is an ABC News article, that it might be a change that happens in the future. And obviously that means they get their catch quicker, they're out at sea, less often, and it's good for the industry all over.
Love it, Rhodey. Little good news story to finish on.
It's a really good news story, it is. It says here $300 to $600 for a new pot, so it's a bit of initial outlay, but if you catch more crayfish, you catch more crayfish.
Yeah, that is what they say in the crayfish industry. Rhodey, let's move on to the tackle item.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Rhodey, as much as I would love to say that I took away my Shimano Grappler Travel Rod to Fiji and pillaged them, I didn't. You did. So I'll let you have this tackle item of the week.
Thanks, Diz. That's really good of you. Now, I did take away the Grappler Travel Rod and it did the job, Diz. I'm going to have to own up. I stuffed up booking the charter. I booked it for the week before we got there, so I thought we weren't actually going to get on and go fishing. And the time, so it's interesting up there, Diz. The week that I was booked in for this charter, when we obviously went up there, they closed the reef for I think 5 days, 3 months in a row or something like that when the coral fish are spawning. So we weren't going to be able to fish.
So they close it for 5 days for 3 consecutive months.
I think so, around a particular part of the moon. Right. So it's when all the coral fish, like your nanagai and coral trout, will spawn, so you're not allowed to fish for them.
Yeah.
So the week that we weren't there, that we were supposed to be there, we were going to be able to, we weren't going to be able to bottom bounce for any of those reef fish. So it was going to be more casting, sort of GTs, Spanish mackerel, which the week we were there, the Spanish mackerel season was closed. So there's lots of closures up there you got to work around.
Yeah, right.
So I got this longer rod. So it's like a casting rod, Diz. It's 2.49 metres, PE6. It's a beautiful rod. It did cast really well when we did have a crack at casting at some GTs, and it got a bit of a hit on one of the lures.
Ooh.
Didn't take it.
Big popper, was it?
Yeah, big popper, and it was bloody cool to watch.
Yeah, I bet.
Big splash of water. You assume it was a big GT. But anyway, it didn't catch it. But Diz, the great thing about this rod is the rest of the day we were bottom bouncing, and while it is technically a casting rod, it still did the job.
Did the job
well.
No doubt.
Nice, lightweight. I think it's going to be great down here for casting stick baits at tuna.
Yeah, beautiful. Can't wait for it.
It's light in your hand. It's a beautiful rod, Diz. It's a 3-piece rod, so it packed up into my Shimano rod case, Diz.
Yeah, love that, mate.
So travelled well up there. It fitted beautifully with the Saragossa 10,000.
Yep.
And it's a really good setup, Diz. It's got got all the best bits to it, and it's a beautiful rod, and I really like using it.
Excellent, Brody. Well, certainly that's enough. That's enough for anybody else out there who likes traveling around the place. They might be off on a little fishing holiday. Get yourself a Grappler Travel Rod and a case too. Of course you'd need a case, mate. You're travelling every other week.
I'm going to Perth soon, so I've got another rod, another travel rod that we can talk about next time, something a bit smaller.
Very good, Rhodey. Well, next we are, of course, going to get our guest on the line, the team behind Squid Ezy. Let's get him on the line.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Well, Rhodey, we're very lucky to be joined by the 2 guys behind Squid Ezy, Brenton and Phil. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks, guys. It's good to be here.
Beautiful, guys. Now, we were just having a look through the back catalogue and we found Rod Cross, who was the previous owner of Squid Ezy. He came on the podcast on episode 44, November 2021. So we're gonna chat about all things Squid Ezy since then. But before we do, we're going to get into our 5 questions that we ask all our guests. We're going to start off with you, Brenton. Tell us about your best fish.
Well, that's a hard one because I don't really have a best fish. I like catching fish no matter what it is, whether it's a tommy off the local jetty or a snapper out at Marion Bay. I just love getting out there on the water and catching a fish.
And Phil, what about you?
Yeah, well, I stayed with some friends up in Darwin, and they took me down to Dundee Beach. And my experience of a lifetime, I got onto my first Spanish mackerel. It was an absolute beauty. It put on the best fight ever. It was just like, it was a super adrenaline rush. Good fun.
Yeah, they're good fun, aren't they? And they're good eating. Did you cook it up?
Oh, sure did, mate. It was delicious.
Excellent. All right, Brenton, well, tell us your favourite thing about fishing, Brenton.
I like to take my boat out and go on my own, and I just love the peace and quiet of being on your own on the water. I'm usually fairly busy, and when I get out there, I can just relax and think about nothing. Basically, it's my time out, and I love it.
Yeah, look, Brenton, sometimes when I go out with Dizzy, I wish I'd gone on my own too. So it's...
Yeah.
All right, Phil, what about your favourite thing?
Yeah, well, you just get to escape from all the daily pressures with work and all the other stress that life throws your way. Just being out in the water with mates, and you just can't beat it. The fresh air, it's just truly the perfect mindfulness experience.
Beautiful. Now I'm going to mix things up and go to Phil first this time. Tell us about your first fishing memory or what got you into it.
Yeah, mate. Well, I was brought up near the Murray River in country Victoria. So, I was always camping and throwing a line in. So we'd go catch some yabbies first and use them as bait, dig up some worms and a few barty gras and then, go catch some big carp and some redfin, yellow bellies.
Yeah, that's epic, mate. We do river trip occasionally. We have a great time, don't we, Rody?
We haven't been for a while. It's probably something we should look into again soon.
All right. Well, how about yourself, Brenton?
Well, I was 7 or 8 years old, and every year we used to head over to the west coast to Tumby Bay. We had relatives over there. And, yeah, so I would have been 7 or 8, like I said, and my old uncle Les had a tinny over in Tumby Bay, and him and my dad took me out fishing in that little tinny at a place called Second Creek, just outside of Tumby. And we got in the little tinny and launched, and Uncle Les put us on what he said his favourite spot was, and we burleyed up with some crushed up cockles that we'd gone out and collected early that morning. And in those days, we used to use hand lines, and I kid you not, as soon as the line hit the bottom, we were all on with double headers, and basically I was hooked. They were whiting, by the way. I was hooked for life from that day on, and we used to go to Tumby Bay every year for 2 weeks a year as I grew up as a kid.
Well,
just to fish.
It sounds like you started right at the top there, double header whiting.
Yeah, it was on, and you couldn't miss in those days. It was incredible. I'd love to get back there now. I haven't been over there for years, but I still reckon I could get on that spot.
It's a great part of the world, isn't it? We'll stick with you, Brenton. Tell us about your favourite sort of fishing. I suppose you guys you probably have to say squidding, but...
Well, yeah, squidding and obviously whiting. I mean, it's great to get on a charter and get after some snapper and all that sort of thing. I love it. But, I just like sitting out here in my boat off Semaphore and catch a big feed of gar. It's as good a fishing as any, I reckon, with light line and when there's plenty of gar on the bite.
Yeah, and what about you, Phil?
Yeah, mate, definitely squidding. Like when you're out with a few friends in the boat and the squid just come on, everyone's catching them all at once and the rods and lines are going everywhere and, you're getting squirted in the face with some ink. It's always a good laugh.
Kayak. You've got your kayak too, Phil, haven't you?
Yeah, kayaking, with the squid. That's great fun. Good action.
And then
get to use the old Squid Ezy tool to clean up afterwards.
Yeah, and we can't wait to hear a bit more about that once we've got through these questions. You're right about squidding. It can be sort of a bit dull and you might be flicking the lures around, but geez, it can be pandemonium before you know it. Like there's bloody rods going everywhere, and like you say, there's ink going all over your boat, and there's stuff happening everywhere. So it's good fun.
Yeah, and good with the kids. So good fun.
True that. All right, Brenton. Well, your turn to tell us one of your funny fishing stories or one that got away.
Okay, it's going to be a funny fishing story today.
Beautiful.
And my son will probably kill me if he hears this, so I won't mention his name, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
We left North Haven really early one morning in the boat, and we headed out towards the Black Pole to do a bit of everything, bit of crabbing and bit of squidding. And anyway, it was really early, and Chris looked like he'd had a pretty late night. He was a bit seedy and whatever, so we found a nice place to anchor. It was just one of those perfect mornings, you know. It was still as there wasn't a breath of wind. It was peaceful. There was hardly any boats out there, and I baited up my 2 crab nets and threw them out. And I turned around and I'm looking at Chris, and he's really looked a bit seedy. He must have had a big night, and he's took forever to put his baits in the little cage that we've got on the bottom of the crab net. And I was just standing there watching him. By now I'm fishing, got the line out as well. I'm still watching him. And next thing you know, he stands up and he throws the net. And then he turns and looks at me and he says, "Dad, don't you say a bloody thing," because my jaw dropped and hit the deck. He didn't even tie it on. He still had the rope wrapped around the net. It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing because he saw the look on my face, and normally I would sort of have a go at him, but I was just left speechless. And I've never seen anything like it.
No, that is a good one.
But we still caught plenty of crabs.
Beautiful. We've never done that, I don't think, Diz, but you certainly come close occasionally with, the burley pod or the crab net or something like that, tossing it in before you've tied it on, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Scaling bag, you don't do that.
Yeah, and
he didn't even unwrap the rope from around the net. So it was like chucking a frisbee, and it just seemed to keep going forever, and then plonk, there it was gone. Yeah, should have thrown him in after it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that might have actually freshened him up if he jumped in for a bit of a dip.
True.
Righto, Phil, your turn. Funny fishing story or one that got away?
Yeah, mate, another funny one here. So my mate and I were fishing at a creek near the river in Victoria, and it was a very hot summer day, and we just decided just to sit in the water with our lines out and only wearing short footy shorts. And then next thing, a big fish took my line, completely bent the rod. So, I stood up straight away, looked down, only to discover I had like 3 to 4 leeches attached to my leg.
Oh.
So, but I kept on going, kept pursuing the fish, reeled it in, and then I started feeling a bit of pain in my groin area. So with one hand on the rod, I reached down to discover that I had a big dirty leech attached to my ball sack and onto the inner thigh.
That's not good.
But, I still caught the fish. I reeled it in.
We probably would have forgiven you for dropping the rod at that point.
Yeah, and the thing was, it was just a bloody carp. So,
you should have dropped
all that pain. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pretty impressive couple of stories there from you guys. We love that, Rody, don't we?
Yeah, no, they were good ones. We'll add them to the highlights reel, I reckon, Diz.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Now, look, we'll get on to the discussion about Squid Ezy. So as we mentioned, we had Rod on the show, fantastic product, and you guys have taken over and no doubt big plans for the future about Squid Ezy. It's a wonderful tool. Let's throw to you, Brenton. Tell us a bit about the product and how the whole process came about for you guys to take over Squid Ezy.
Well, I've known Rod for many years. I also have another online fishing tackle store, which that's a story for another day. And Rod, earlier in the year, Rod's getting on a bit and wanted to retire. And he actually called me and asked if I knew anyone that might be interested in, buying all the stock and taking it over. In other words, I think he was fishing himself. so I sort of said, oh, look, I'll ask around, and if I know anyone, I'll get back to you. Well, of course, he put the seed in my head, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I thought, well, could I actually do this? And the answer was yes, but I needed a partner. So, why not Phil? We get along well, and we're related. So, we got Phil in. I got Phil involved. Phil's been real good for the brand. Rod is just such a champion bloke. He made the whole process easy of the handover. And like I said, he was basically going to, if he couldn't find someone to take it over, he was going to just scrap it basically.
Yeah, okay.
And with such a great product,
yeah.
I couldn't just sit back and let that happen, especially because it's made here in South Australia, and we want to keep it that way, of course. I just pretty much could not say no to it. So here we are. We've got it today, and we've got big plans for it. Phil's got a bit to say on that. So
beautiful. Phil, tell us what's in the pipeline.
Yeah, well, also I just want to add to what Brenton was saying. Like, the thing that really caught my attention when Brenton approached me about it is that it is manufactured locally here in South Australia at a company called Lincoln Plastics in St Agnes.
Yeah.
And this company is like a leading Australian manufacturer of innovative tooling and plastic components, and fully ISO accredited. So, really good backing. We're also just the wholesalers of the product. So, we're in over 100 leading tackle stores across Australia. But we do have big plans. So, we've also created a new website, which is fresh, engaging, features a stockist store finder, because we direct all our potential store owners and customers to the site, and assist the stockists with all their sales, which a lot of those guys seem to love. And we aim to take our product, the Squid Ezy product, worldwide. So we're always looking for new stores, opportunities to stock our products, and also we're focusing on looking outside of the box, not just the average fishers, but fishmongers, chefs, restaurants, servos, hardware stores, supermarkets, large retail chains and online stores. And because the Squid Ezy tool is more than a fishing product, it's also a kitchen utensil and can be used by many people from all different types of age groups. And another great thing that, we've discovered is that it's super easy for elderly people to use with arthritis and other similar symptoms. So, yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's a fantastic product, and really appreciate the story there, and really keen to see the growth of Squid Ezy continue, and I'm sure you guys will do an excellent job. I am keen to let you guys, I guess, I've seen videos and seen it in action and all that. It is a really wonderful product. But for anybody who isn't familiar with it, I know this might not be easy, but can one of you describe how it is used to clean a squid?
Would you like me to do it, Phil?
Yeah, mate, go for it.
Yeah, we've just had the boat show at the Wavell Showgrounds, fishing and boating show this weekend. So we did a lot of demonstrations, and we also had a video running, which you can see videos on our website of how to use the tool, which is probably the best way. But Phil and I must have been over this, telling people how to use it about 5,000 times over there. So I think I can probably give it a bit of a go. So the Squid Ezy tool comes in 3 sizes. Small, medium, large, so it's depending on the size of your catch. It is one of those hard things that's going to be really hard to do in a podcast, but basically the top of this tool has a V-notch. Now you slide the tool inside the squid just underneath the little feather that they have inside, that little cartilage.
Yep.
And slide it through. Now, and while it's sliding through, that little V-notch cuts and separates the body from the head.
Yeah.
So then once you have got the tool all the way in, you sort of keep it as flat as you can, and you grab the squid by the back of the eyes with one hand while holding the tool in the other, and you pull the head out. And when you pull the head out, all the guts and the ink sac and everything, all the internal organs come out all at once. And it's really simple. It comes out really simply. Then you remove the feather, and then you stand the squid up. So the point is heading towards the sky. And then you take another Squid Ezy tool, which has a couple of notches on each tool has these notches. You place on top of the pointy bit of the squid, and you give it a bit of a rock and roll. And then with your hands, you pull the skin and the wings downwards, and it all comes off at once. And then there's a few other functions of the tool, and one of them is you can use it to then turn your tube inside out, just to scrape off with your knife any of the remaining organs or gunk, and it's all ready for the pan. That's basically it. But you'll need to jump onto squidezy.com and just have a look at videos there. There's myself in action, and there's also Phil's daughter, was 11 years old at the time. And just take note, if you're watching that one with Phil's daughter, Ruby, that was her first go, and she cleaned a squid and did it so simply, and it is as simple as that.
Well, I reckon you've done a pretty good job of describing what I thought was going to be a difficult thing to explain, but well done for that. We might even get you to send us the video, and we'll put that up on our Instagram, or send a link or something so everyone can get a visual as well.
Oh, we'll do that, and appreciate you letting us do that. We'll get our social media person onto it.
Beautiful. Now, you did mention the boat show. I'm going to ask Phil this one. How'd you go at the boat show? Successful weekend?
Yeah, mate, it was a massive 3 days at the show. We sold plenty of Squid Ezys. People were stocking up for Christmas presents because, they do make a really good idea for Christmas. It was just huge exposure for us as well. From business owners to beginners, advanced fishers. And like Brenton said, we did live demos each day. So, as scary as it was a lot of fun. And we didn't even burst one ink sac. So we're bloody happy with that.
And no squid were harmed either.
Yeah.
You're right. It's certainly for anybody like into fishing, or they might even just go down to the jetty and want to get themselves a feed. It's a great stocking filler, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it is, mate.
Yeah, love it, guys. That's really good. So, well, you've given us a bit of an insight as to what's in the pipelines for Squid Ezy. How about we'll start with you, Brenton. Tell us about what's in the pipelines for the fishing trips over summer.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it because, like I said, I do have an online tackle shop that keeps me really busy.
Yeah,
and that's my busy period. So I don't make too many plans, but I will get some days out, and I want to pop out from North Haven, and I've got some spots out off Semaphore and get some big blueies for Christmas, and hopefully a few squid and some gar and stuff like that. But I probably won't get a break this year. And when I go out during the middle of the week to try and avoid all the rush.
Beautiful. And Phil, what about yourself?
Yeah, mate, I've got family over at York, so that's always the go-to spot. I can't really give away any secret spots, mate. I'd get hung by the tentacles. But and we got a couple of kayaks last year, so keen to get them out and get some good footage for Squid Ezy.
Beautiful. Now, last question we've got for you. Between the two of you, who is the master chef, and what's your go-to way of cooking the squid? We got into, what did we do, Diz? We did the charcoal, cooked the squid over the charcoal over last summer, and we loved it. But salt and pepper squid, what's your go-to?
Brenton's the chef, so go for it, Brenton.
Yeah, well, with squid, there's only two ways to cook it, and it's either very quick or very slow. So otherwise you're going to eat rubber. But what I do, my latest dish is I've got a bit of a special rub that I use with some chilies and some Chinese spice and a few other bits and pieces. But what I've been doing lately is with the Squid Ezy tool, you can actually leave the tool inside, and with your knife you can score both sides of the squid.
Yeah, nice.
So,
that's a good idea.
And pull your tool out, and then the tube's still whole, but it's scored in both sides, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And then put it in your rub, chuck it in your wok. I always use a wok to cook squid. Get it really, really piping hot. Throw your squid in, and because we've scored it, it then sort of flares out, and it looks, because I'm a bit of a foodie, I like the way things look on a plate. So it looks really good on top of a salad. And then I always keep the heads and chop the eyes and take the beak out, of course, and fry those tentacles off. And let both cool down a little bit, put your squid tube on top of the salad, and then poke the tentacles back in so it looks like a whole squid again. Oh, yeah. And then even the wings I pop on the side, and just have it on a nice salad with like a lime dressing and lots of avocado and lettuce and fresh tomato. And it's basic, but it's delicious. Fresh squid is delicious.
I'm getting hungry.
I was going to say, sounds pretty good to me. Let us know when you'd want us round for that. We'll come around with a couple of beers.
We'll have you over, boys. Yeah, you bring the beers, I'll bring the squid.
Beautiful.
Righto, guys, you've been very generous with your time. Thank you very much. Squid Ezy, a wonderful tool. We'll make sure we put up the video, but you did do a wonderful job, Brenton, explaining how it's done. So thank you guys very much for your time. We can't wait to see what's next for Squid Ezy, and keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And Rody and Diz, just remember, mate, it's so easy with Squid Ezy.
Love it. Excellent. Righto, boys. You have a good night, and thanks again for your time.
Cheers, mate.
All
Thanks.
Right. Cheers.
Diz, that was very informative from the Squid Ezy team.
Yeah, loved it, Rody. We definitely put Brenton on the spot there trying to describe the Squid Ezy tool over a podcast, but I think they did a wonderful job explaining how they're done. We can't wait to get the video up online for everybody to see. They're a very useful tool, particularly if you do... Look, I think it's a useful tool for people who may not do a lot of squid fishing, and it certainly helps them in that process. I even had a friend the other day message me say, I've got one of their customers dropped off some squid, and he said, I got no bloody idea what to do with this thing. And I said, well, if you YouTube it, I said, one better than that is go down and buy yourself a Squid Ezy tool and you'll be laughing.
And Diz, no wonder they had their little spiel down pat, because my God, they were showing some people how to use it at the boat show, weren't they?
Yeah, were they? Certainly, were they ever? I mean, they were on stage doing some live demos, which is always good for people to see. But, really good product. Certainly great to see it in action, Rody. And, if you're into it, get yourself down there and grab yourself a Squid Ezy tool. Rody, let's wrap that bit up now, mate, and let's get into the fishing report.
Rody and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Yeah, Rody, we've got a fair bit jam-packed into the fishing report this week, mate. Of course, the North Bank comp was on not too long ago, which looked like an epic weekend. Of course, Harry was down there being the new proud owner of North Bank. Looks like they had a wonderful weekend down there. I think it was Joshy Davey out there on Harry's boat doing a fair bit of damage on the whiting.
Yeah, I saw Red Habgood came over from Victoria to fish in at Diz, and
yes.
I listened to his podcast with Dangerfield, and he basically, I'm putting words in his mouth, but he basically said he knows how to catch more whiting than the South Australians.
Oh wow! Bang! He's just flexing on whack.
He
I'm
said,
better than
"I
you."
use the South Australian style whiting rig, which was with the sinker on the bottom with your hooks higher up."
Yeah.
And said, we were doing okay, but then I went back to my Victorian style one and I nailed them.
Yeah, right.
So they fish like a longer bottom hook.
Yeah.
Sort of off your sinker, so it sits right down on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I suppose we don't do it maybe because it gets snagged and it gets sort of, in the tide or whatever. But, he basically said his system works better.
He was out with Ned?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, so no doubt they did very well.
And I didn't see a winner or anything, Diz, but all the boats we saw seemed to catch plenty of fish.
Yeah, certainly. And, geez, there was some epic boats there. Far out. Some lovely looking North Banks on the water.
We might get ourselves a flag next year, will we?
Yeah, well, that's right. Just need to sort our stuff out between now and then. It's a very well-known comp for South Australia. They ran for a number of years. They had a couple of years off because of COVID and so on and so forth, but it was great to see it back.
Yeah, it is, one of those things that we're finally getting back to normality.
Love it. All right, Rody, your turn, mate. Your time to shine. Tell the listeners about your trip up to Port Douglas. Make us all jealous.
Diz, we smashed some big nanagai.
Yes.
Geez, they were good eating. Couple of smaller coral trout. We have got bigger coral trout in previous years.
Did you bring any fish back or?
No, we had it up there. We were hungry.
Fair enough.
You've
brought fish back.
We have done it before, yeah. Did a whole coral trout on the barbie. That was bloody good eating.
Yeah,
it was like when we used to cook snapper back in the day.
Yeah, yum.
With all your sort of, your garlic and ginger and lemon sort of in the cavity, make it sort of a bit Asian style with your coriander and all that. It was really good. Beautiful. Had some crumbed nanagai. That was good eating too, Diz.
Yeah, love it.
So it was a really good day out. As I said, we missed a hit on a big GT. We got some, I think they call them bludger trevally. They fought really hard.
Yeah, right.
Not good eating fish, but fought hard. I also caught a Chinaman fish, which is the one with the red and white stripes.
Yes,
and
that one's got
looks really cool and fought really hard too, but that's got the ciguatera poisoning, so you can't eat them. But that was another cool fish to tick off.
Yeah.
Jake from Exceed Sports Fishing, he got us onto him.
Yeah, love it, mate. Excellent. Looks like a lovely day out, and of course got a few sharks off the bank too.
Yeah, that kept me entertained for a couple of hours there while Lou was having a sleep one day, and then Richard, Lucy's dad, brought Lou down for a look, and just as they pulled up, I caught it was a very small reef shark, this one.
Yeah.
And said, we'll get Lou in for a little photo with my catch.
Cracked it.
She didn't like the shark.
Fair enough.
I've got some photos. We should actually put them up. They're good, quite funny photos. Lil was not a fan of the shark flapping around.
What did you use for bait?
Prawns.
Yeah, righto.
And some little, they were like local sardines or something, but mostly prawns.
Nice. All right, Rody, this is something we touched on briefly at the boat show, but for anybody who wasn't there, we talked about the great white that was washed up at Portland after a suspected killer whale attack.
Yeah, so what did Ty say? The bird watching boat or some boat had seen killer whales the day before that?
Yes.
In the waters, and he said he's seen them a handful of times off Port Mac, so it's reasonable that they would be at Portland, which is just down the road.
Yep.
And then the next day, a great white washed up with some of its, I think it's liver and some of its organs missing, which is quite typical of how the orcas or killer whales hunt the great whites over in South Africa. So putting two and two together, they reckon that it could have been a killer whale that killed the great white.
Yeah, unbelievable, really. It's quite fascinating seeing that photo, and then it is amazing how you kind of have the timeline of it all a bit, really, don't you? Somebody sees them out there, then they wash up, characteristic signs of an orca attack. Too many signs for me to rule it as a furphy.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with it, Diz, and I'd love to see killer whales on the boat, wouldn't you?
Well, there was some killer whales seen off Marion Bay not that long ago.
Yeah,
last year
Reef
or year
Encounters
before?
got the footage, I reckon, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Rody, excellent. Let's talk about the Port Augusta Kings. We've seen some photos.
Plenty of photos, land-based and on the boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Geez, I can't wait to get over there and have a crack.
See, look, this is sounding a little bit like the barrel tuna, but we've got a bit on the next few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've got 1 or 2 weekend days where we can get it done, and we're praying that the weather lines up.
Yeah, we really do hope the weather
because we are overdue.
Yeah, we certainly are.
But if this doesn't line up, the Cape Jarvis sort of that area will fire hopefully later on the year.
Yes, let's hope so, Rody. And speaking of that area, we hope the tuna aren't too far away.
There was a bit of talk at the boat show. Everyone was asking questions. Has anyone seen them? And what have you heard?
Who's heard of them? Tice is down here. Actually, he'd have his boat here now. He was back there on Sunday. I think he was making the trek over the next few days.
Yep.
So Tice's boat will be booked out before too long. Hopefully the weather plays the game for him, and no doubt the fish will too. He'll be down off Rinner, and we can't wait to hear from him about where the tuna are. He'll post lots of photos, I'm sure.
He certainly will, Diz. And what about the big Murray cod that Jack Schiller tagged us in from one of the local reservoirs?
That was an enormous cod.
It's a big cod. That's the biggest I've seen out of any of the reservoirs.
Yeah, they've obviously that fish has done some good growing.
Oh yeah, that's a big fish.
That's been sitting there plucking off those cheese chunks and chicken fillets or whatever people are throwing at him out of the resi. So
that was a good one.
Very good, Rody.
And Diz, this is not quite, it's not a fishing report, but obviously someone lost their life at Streaky Bay over the last few days, Diz, and
yeah, not good, Rody.
Off at the Granites, and it was 2 years ago, pretty much to the day that we were there. You got Vibrio and we went snorkeling in there for some abalone. So
yeah, we were around about the same area, obviously not out surfing ourselves, but yeah, it's never good to hear. We've had a bit of a string of shark attacks. We've talked about them in the podcast. It tends to be this time of year. Of course, there's the whale migration. They talk about that being a bit of a highway for the great white sharks. Doesn't make it any easier, mate, when people lose their life like that. It's not good.
No, it's not good, Diz. And, you know, rest in peace to the gentleman who seems to have lost his life. And one of those things that not much you can do about it, I suppose, if you're going into their environment. It's sort of, I know we do it, snorkeling and scuba diving and whatever else, and it's just one of those risks you take, I suppose.
Yes, yep, that's right. All right, Rody. Well, give us a bit before the end of the episode.
No, Diz, I'm going to really change the mood of this, and I know you started this a few weeks ago, the snake segment. The snake report. We've got another addition to the snake report, Diz.
Can we get an introduction to the snake report?
I'm going to talk to our sound man and see if we can get that done. But I can't remember. You had some rubbish story about a snake the other week.
There was a snake spotted in the water off Halleck Cove. And
anyway,
this has nothing to do with it.
Now we are getting snake reports sent through to us. So Dan from the Fishing Guru sent us a snake update. He sent us a picture of a brown snake he spotted this week at Fishing Guru HQ, otherwise known as Aberfoyle Park, Diz. So if you live around there, keep your eye out. The brown snakes are out and about.
Yeah, watch out.
And in all seriousness, there will be more snakes around as the weather warms up. We're heading to Clare for a 30th this weekend. I think that could be snake country, so we'll have the camera out and see if we can't get another update for the snake report.
Do you reckon we could sort of do every other week fishing podcast, every other week snake podcast?
Look, I wouldn't say we've got like heaps of credibility in fishing, but we've got none at snake catching or snake reporting or anything.
Righto, let's wrap this up, Rody. Where can the listeners find us? You'll see it out on the Facebook, the Instas, where else?
Diz, that's where you can send in your photos for our surf fishing competition. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple Music, any of your podcasting services. Diz, so give us a review, give us a like, give us a share, whatever you do.
Yeah, love it, mate. Hopefully the weather starts getting better. Hopefully all you listeners out there are doing a bit more fishing than I am of late. And we can't wait to see your photos and we can't wait to see you on the water, Rody.
And thanks again to Squid Ezy for coming on.
Great stuff, Rody. Speak to you soon, mate.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.